It all started when I moved into the old hostel for my first year at university. The building had been there since the 1950s, and there were always whispers about strange things happening in it. People said a girl had died there years ago, and her ghost still wandered the halls, angry and restless. But I thought those were just stories to scare newcomers. Nothing more. I was assigned a small, dimly lit room on the 3rd floor. My roommate, Anna, had been living there for a year already. She was quiet, but kind, and we hit it off right away.
Oh, hi. You must be Bella.
Yeah, and you're Anna, my roommate for the next 3 years?
Yep, welcome. This bed and this wardrobe are mine. You can put your stuff in the other one, and feel free to ask me anything.
Thanks so much. By the way, could you tell me the timings for food in our class schedules? Actually, I have a ton of questions. Sorry.
It's fine, I understand.
We spent the next few hours chatting about classes, food, and life at the hostel. She seemed normal enough, and I figured we'd get along just fine. The first few nights were peaceful, almost too peaceful. We spent most of our time studying, the weight of coursework hanging over us. But something felt off. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but it was like the building itself had a pulse, a presence that couldn't be ignored. One night, after dinner, I decided to take a walk around the park behind the hostel. It was quiet and I needed a break. As I walked, I felt the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. It was like someone was watching me. I glanced around nervously, and that's when I saw it. In the window of my room, someone was standing there. At first, I thought it was Anna, so I waved. But then she turned and went inside. I frowned, confused. That's odd. I didn't know why, but I felt the urge to check on her. Maybe she was feeling sick or something. I rushed back to the building. I knocked on the door. Anna, are you in there? It's me, Bella. No answer. I knocked again, this time harder. Anna, please open the door. 5 minutes passed, nothing. I left my keys and phone inside because Anna was always back before me. Just as I was about to knock again, I heard a noise. Like something had bumped into the door. Anna? Are you okay? Then I heard the door creak open, and there she was, standing behind me.
Bella, what are you doing outside this late?
I was stunned. I saw someone in the window. I thought it was you, but you weren't here?
Bella, I've been in the library since the afternoon. What are you talking about?
My heart skipped a beat. What was happening? I must have seen something else. Sorry, let's just go inside. The next few days were unsettling, but manageable. I tried to shake off the feeling that something wasn't right. Then the knocking started. At first, it was just faint taps, like someone was tapping on the door. I'd open it, but no one was ever there. I asked Anna about it, but she just shook her head, clearly unnerved.
Just ignore it. It's nothing.
But I couldn't ignore it, and then things started to escalate. I remember sitting at my study desk one night, facing the window that overlooked the park. The lights out there flickered. I shrugged it off and focused on my laptop. Then my desk lamp started to flicker too. I tapped it, but nothing changed. That's when I felt it. Someone touched my shoulder. I spun around, expecting Anna to be there, but she wasn't. She was fast asleep in her bed. Anna, can I borrow your lamp? She didn't respond. I turned to see her still laying in bed, sleeping soundly. That's when I realized something was wrong. I felt like there was a presence in the room, lurking just out of sight, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. I woke up in the middle of the night, feeling something tugging at my quilt. My feet were cold, even though I had fixed the blanket multiple times. I sat up, irritated. And that's when I saw it. A head right next to Anna's pillow. I froze. I couldn't breathe. My heart was pounding in my chest. Anna, wake up. The head turned, and I screamed. I screamed louder than I ever thought I could. Anna woke up, her face groggy and confused.
Bella? What the hell? It's 3 a.m.
There was a head. There was a girl, a person, right next to you.
A head or a girl?
No, I swear, there was someone there.
Bella, it was probably just a nightmare. You need to rest. Let's talk about this in the morning.
She tugged me back into bed and went back to sleep. But I couldn't. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to the scratching sound above my head. It didn't stop. I buried myself in my covers, but it was still there, lingering. The next morning, Anna sat me down.
Bella, I don't want to scare you, but I think you should know something.
What? I went cold. The room felt like it was closing in on me.
I don't know, but I heard from a senior that the girl who died, she killed herself in our room.
What are you saying? Are you telling me that what I saw last night was her? My mind was racing. We needed to leave. Fast. We went to the hostel manager to request a room change. We can't stay in this room.
I'm sorry, girls. All the rooms are occupied.
We don't care if there's no other room. We'll manage.
Even if someone vacates, it's a week's wait for a bed.
Please, just let us go.
But I'll talk to the principal and see what can be done. And Bella, I have a bed empty from the back in my office. I don't use it at night. If you want, you can stay there.
It's been a week. I'm avoiding Patrick because he is not a good man. To be honest, I have heard from many newcomers that he is creepy as hell, always trying to push himself on them, and even enter their rooms in the name of checking. And no one listens to the uppers as if he's hiding their secrets. But he never follows me to the 3rd floor. Anna came forward and stopped him from touching me.
No, thanks, Patrick. We are good. And do let us know if there's any room we can shift to.
So we had no choice but to go back. When we walked into the room, the door creaked open by itself. Anna, do you hear that? We stepped inside, and I looked up. There were new scratches on the headrest of my bed. They hadn't been there before. We decided to stay up together. I don't know when I fell asleep, but when I woke up, Anna was sitting up in her bed, staring at the corner of the room. Her eyes were wide, unblinking, her body stiff and motionless. Anna, what's wrong? She didn't respond. Her gaze never moved from the corner. I turned to look, but there was nothing there, just shadows. But as I stared, I felt the air grow thick, heavy, as if something was pressing in on me. And then I heard it, a loud thump, like something heavy had fallen. I jumped out of bed, my heart pounding, but then I turned to look at Anna. She was standing, frozen, staring at the door.
She's here.
I froze. The room plunged into darkness. The lights flickered and died. Suddenly, the silence was shattered by another loud thump, a noise that came from the corner of the room where Anna had been staring. The shadow in the corner shifted, an unnatural presence filling the space. I could almost feel it, like something was crawling out of the darkness, inching closer to us. Anna, please. I took a shaky step forward, but it felt like the ground beneath me was pulling me back. Something was stopping me, holding me in place, a force I couldn't see but could feel pressing against me. Anna's head snapped towards me, her eyes wide, her voice trembling.
Bella, I can't move. It's her.
My mind screamed for us to leave. I looked around, desperately searching for a way out. The door. But the door wouldn't open. It was as if the room had trapped us, as if the building itself was alive, angry that we had uncovered its secrets. I dashed to the door again, pulling on the handle, but it wouldn't budge. I banged on it, yelling for help, but there was no response. My voice felt small, lost in the suffocating silence that surrounded us. For a while, I stopped, and then the voice of someone's cry reached my ears. I turned around, and I saw Anna was sitting in the middle of the room and crying. No, wailing. Anna!
Yes?
Are you hurt?
She is hurt.
Who?
Amelia!
Then Anna told me about the monster we all know as Patrick. The hostel had always been a place for students to stay. A place of comfort, or so they thought. But behind the walls, hidden in the shadows, was Patrick, the hostel manager. He had been working there for years, always lurking around, helping students with maintenance. But there was something off about him. His eyes, cold and calculating, made students uneasy. But no one ever dared to speak up. After all, he was in charge. It wasn't until Amelia arrived at the hostel that the true darkness of Patrick's character began to show. Amelia was a quiet, shy girl, new to the university. She was kind, introverted, and easy to manipulate. Patrick quickly saw her as an easy target. He would find excuses to visit her room, fixing lights, checking the plumbing, staying just a bit too long. At first, Amelia thought it was just friendly help, but his behavior grew more sinister. One evening, Patrick cornered her in a common room, offering her a drink and whispering inappropriate comments. He tried to make her feel special, but Amelia felt a growing sense of unease. She tried to push him away, but Patrick didn't take rejection well. In a fit of rage, he trapped her in an unused room on the 3rd floor. His harassment escalated, and when Amelia resisted him, Patrick became violent. In the end, Amelia was found dead in that room. Her death ruled a suicide, though the truth was far darker. Patrick had killed her. Her spirit, restless and angry, began to haunt the hostel, trapped in the room where she had died. She was determined to seek revenge on Patrick, but he managed to continue his life as if nothing had happened. The university did nothing. The ghost of Amelia became nothing more than a story passed along by older students. No one suspected that Patrick had anything to do with her death. Years passed, and Patrick continued to work at the hostel, now a more seasoned, manipulative figure. He knew how to stay under the radar.
She's here.
In that moment, the lights flickered violently, plunging the room into darkness. I fumbled to turn them back on, but when the light returned, something was different. Patrick stood in the doorway, his face pale, eyes hollow.
You shouldn't have stayed here.
The realization hit me like a bolt of lightning. Patrick was involved in Amelia's death. He had harassed her, manipulated her, and ultimately caused her death. Amelia's spirit had returned for revenge. She had used Anna to tell her story. Patrick had thought he could escape the consequences of his actions, but Amelia's wrath was far from over. In an instant, the room filled with darkness again, but this time it wasn't just the lights that were out. Amelia's spirit moved through the shadows, reaching for Patrick. He screamed, but it was too late. The girl's ghost dragged him into the darkness, pulling him into the very place where she had died. His screams echoed through the hall as he vanished, leaving only an eerie silence behind. The next day, when the police arrived, Patrick was gone. No one knew where he had gone, and the university claimed he had disappeared. They never connected him to Amelia's death. The students who witnessed it were too afraid to speak, and the administration made sure the truth stayed buried. Anna and I moved out of the hostel as soon as we could, but we would never forget the night Amelia had gotten her revenge, and Patrick had paid for his dark past. However, the haunting didn't end there. Amelia's spirit still lingered in the hostel, watching over the students who dared to stay. And as long as Patrick's sins were buried, Amelia's presence would never truly be gone.